Welcome to Roguecast, the official podcast of Rogues Gallery. We'll talk comics for the week, as well as whatever news is on our pop cultural radar. I'm Randy.
I'm Nick.
This is Dave.
And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Roguecast.
You know, we're at the dawn of the rainy season, of monsoon season.
But it's not raining right now.
It will be in about 5 hours.
By the time people are listening to this, it will be raining for the next 2 weeks.
No!
It's true.
Yeah.
That is
and
what's
it's
happening.
Hate weather.
Yeah, you know, what's in the Clone Wars movie, like Camino?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's going to be like Camino.
Oh.
Yeah.
Will there be giant necked peoples?
Yeah, giant neck peoples and like domed water cities.
Yeah.
You're saying it's
yeah.
raining giant neck peoples?
Yes.
Interesting.
Django is on the prowl. Django Unchained, though.
Yes.
Weirdly.
He's riding his horse across and it slides right off into the water.
Not loving the rain.
Don't
Yes.
forget, Little Boba Fett is traveling, or
Yeah.
trailing
Little Boba.
behind.
Yep. The Clone Wars cartoons really did rescue a lot of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because they made Little Boba cool.
He did. I mean, they did.
Did they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
He
I
actually
believe
went-
you, because
he
the
actually went
cartoons
on
did
a,
so much good stuff.
Suicide Run trying to kill Samuel Jackson's character, which I believe
Yes,
on his name.
Mace Windu.
Was he still a little youngling then, or
was.
did they
He was
like
like-
teenage him up?
But he was like a badass little youngling.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, like not like a teenager, like 17
No,
or
no,
18.
he was-
he
a
was
little-
like
little
8
kid.
or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know of the quality of these stories, that I believe you.
Yeah. I one of these days I'm going to go through and watch, as our friend Fathery is doing right now, is because he's a madman.
All of them?
All of them in chronological order. In order to get his fiance up to date in time
Yes.
for Grogu and Mandalorian, which, by the way, comes out in like a week.
Yes.
They are watching every Star Wars thing from the beginning.
Every Star
Like
Wars
chronologically and for the
chronologically,
characters.
thing? Or just the cartoons?
No, everything.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, all the movies, all the live action.
All three seasons of Mandalorian, because they're going to watch the Mandalorian. It's madness.
Christmas
Nick.
special?
It's madness.
And
I'm
they're
sure the
caught
Christmas
up.
special's in there.
When we were gaming
Droids?
with them the other night playing the Dune RPG,
Yes.
I was like, hey, how are you doing, Taylor? And she's like, oh, she's like, I had a little bit of a breakdown.
That was a breakdown.
The other night. And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. She is like a really, I mean, like she is on board stuff, and she will take the she will try it out. She
commits.
She also has the organizing quality.
There's a
But-
hashtag couples goals there, by the way.
For sure.
Is there a spreadsheet involved?
Congrats, by the way, to
100%
those two.
spreadsheet.
Father's been a long-time customer. They
Yes.
just got engaged.
Right,
So.
this is super amazing.
Yeah.
but like also totally understandable that level of Star Wars would challenge anyone.
By the way, this is also, I don't know if you guys know that Dave, as a DM, is particularly skilled. Because I've run a lot of games in my life. Nobody got out of my game and then immediately got engaged.
That's true.
That is a level. That's a bar that I think a lot of people won't
I
clear.
don't know that I actually had a whole lot to do with that.
I don't know, Dave. It was that night.
But I'll take the win.
It's Dave ran the Dune RPG for us.
Yep.
The starter set with some tweaks.
Yeah, it's very much. There is something interesting about it that I didn't quite want to do, even though I thought it was well done. They, instead of most starter sets, come with an adventure and a pared down version of the rules, so the person running it can get familiar with it. This doesn't have the pared down version of the rules. You just run the adventure, and everybody learns the game as you play. And the way they do it in this is they kind of they minimize player agency. It's almost a little bit more like a choose your own adventure where you have some dice rolls,
Yep.
but like it tells you, it's like when this happens, they can either roll this or this or this, and then you have to choose one of those three things. You can't go off the map or much. And I was like, I gotta have some off the map.
Yep.
I gotta have some little character interplay and stuff like that, even though it's well done and it feels very Dune and all that.
That's how my little shit of a guy talked himself out of a fight.
Yeah, and that, like, honestly, I feel like that was the coolest scene in the whole game.
Me too.
Randy was,
I'm so cool.
It's people who know the Dune stuff know the Atreides family get trapped, set up to fall when they take over the spice production on Arrakis. In this alternate timeline, it's these characters, but instead of going straight to Arrakis, you're actually being trained by the Harkonnens.
Yep. And we don't know they're all evil bastards.
Right. Well, like, their reputation.
Yeah.
But they're probably up to something. But like, right now they are just kind of the tough love trainers.
Yep.
And we'll see where that goes. But yeah, Randy was playing like the kind of you're the youngest son of this sort of noble family.
Yep.
It'd be like if Paul had a little shit noble brother.
Yeah.
But you're not even that. You're not like, he's not a piece of shit. He's just a little
He's manipulative.
egotistical.
He wants to be the power behind the throne.
That's right. His older sister, he's okay with her, I think, running the big show, but he's like kind of like, I'll really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And Randy did a great job playing him. Did a really cool sequence where I was like, the book, when like it wanted him to get in a fight at one point, and Randy talked his way out in a very cool way.
I threatened him.
Yeah, but he did it in that Dune way, which is like, it's actually a thing that's on his character sheet, but it's like kind of more in the books,
where you
can say something to somebody, but you can send like a secondary message if you make your roll. And your message was, because this was like during a training exercise, your message was like, I know it's a training exercise, but if you attack me, I'm going to actually hurt you. I was like, that's really good. That's really good. Anyway, so that was a memorable game session.
And Dave's Dune RPG is why I also took his recommendation from our last podcast and watched a little Dune Prophecy, and I will second the recommendation. I think it's a good episode. It's a good series.
Yeah.
Worth a watch.
I think it's like, if you can if you can pay the buy-in, if you can like do that and are ready for some sort of Game of Thrones-y stuff.
Yep.
It is not like just completely like super dry. I feel like you got to get an episode or two into it to fully appreciate it. But there's cool stuff, and there's nudity and drug use. People are doing the spice in clubs with thumping beats.
And conspiracies. Murder.
Not a whole lot of sword fighting, but occasionally there's some pretty badass sword fighting.
In that final episode, there's some cool sword fights.
There's some very cool sword fights. Yeah.
At any rate, good.
All right, so we talk about some games for the week?
No, let me start off with a couple housekeeping notes.
Okay, go ahead.
One is that Free RPG Day is approaching in June. We're about a month out.
Yep.
Keep that in mind. And that we do a slideshow that I put together that goes runs in our TVs here at the store.
Yep, it's always running in the background. Check out those slideshows.
It's got stuff that's coming up in comics, stuff that's coming up in games. It's a good way to see if there's stuff you want to add to your subscription, that kind of thing. It is available. I just started adding it to the dispatch each week.
Oh, cool!
So at the bottom of it's a Google slideshow. So basically, at the end of the dispatch, after you get past my whatever meme thing I post, before you get to our podcast for the week, there is a link you can click, and it will show you the latest slideshow.
Yeah, basically, you can find out what the new hotness is.
Yes, before it is the new hotness. Well, it's just the approaching hotness.
Yeah, you don't want it to be old and busted.
No, or the old and cold.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yes, games. We did get a bunch of games in this last week. Some of them were a little older than they were supposed to be. This happens with our distributor now. They were supposed to come out in April. We got them a little late.
Yep.
But we do have them. And among them, we have One Last Fight, which is a little box set. And I was like, it looked cool. I want to know what it was. It's a roguelike, card-based role-playing game where 1 to 4 players journey to defeat their final nemesis or die trying.
See, that sounds pretty cool.
It's a fun idea, yeah.
Roguelike basically meaning it's going to be sort of procedurally generated
and different every time.
And you're going to get something different every time. Yeah. That sounds pretty cool. Like if you're like, I like this basic structure, you're going to be able to replay and replay.
So I finally learned what roguelike meant because of this and other things.
Yeah.
Why is that rogue? How is that like a rogue?
So it has something to do with like that was like a game code kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm probably slightly misstating that, but like it has nothing to do with like D&D rogues or Rogue from the X-Men or anything like that.
Or Rogue Squadron.
Or Rogue Squadron.
To see how that kind of translates to a board game because
Yeah.
those video games frustrate me because it's basically just you die and you start all the way over.
Yeah. Well, it's like classic arcade.
Although there are games, there's very like I know there's different levels of the difficulty. The traditional thing is you start, go back at the beginning. You got to be one of those people who likes to get 100% on games or something.
Yep.
But I know that they have an audience. There's an audience for it.
I'm just saying, roguelike is a bad term. There's nothing roguey about it,
Right.
and I think we should change the name to only the same, never the same twice. Like catchy like
rolls
that.
trippingly up the
Yeah.
tongue.
Roll off the tongue the same way. But,
Anyway, stop abusing rogue. It'll lose all meaning.
The term roguelike originates from the 1980 ASCII-based... Is that how you say that? ASCII.
Yeah.
But, the little keyboard thing.
Yep.
Dungeon crawler rogue created... So it's literally like that was just the name of a game.
So it's roguelike. It should be capitalized because it's rogue, the game-like.
That's true.
So instead of calling it roguelike, which is, again, I find confusing, how about like this 80s game Rogue that you might have played? Like... How's that? Is that better?
Similar procedurally generated turn-based games gained popularity in the early 90s. The Usenet community consolidated discussions into a dedicated group named rec.games.roguelike, giving birth to the genre's name. I guess because it wasn't capitalized in that URL. So
I also didn't know there were two different things. There's roguelike and there's roguelite.
Roguelite is
I believe the roguelite games are the ones that are less punishing.
Yes, it's basically each time you die, you keep all your gear and stuff to make each thing progressively easier. But you start fresh, you're dead.
When you say roguelite, I assume that there were not a lot of rogues in it.
Right.
And that just makes more sense. Which means if you were going to call roguelite, I think a new name for that would probably be generates different every time, but not as punishing as roguelike.
See, I thought it was like when you're at the coffee shop and you say, like a cup of coffee, but make it a little roguelite.
Make it a little roguelite.
Yeah.
And they don't put any rogues in your coffee.
No, they don't, because it's kind of standard now.
Otherwise a rogue will come out, his finger will just be in there. Is your coffee, mate? All rogues are Australian.
He just backstabs you.
then he backstabs you and takes your tip.
Paul Hogan's got to work too.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
I don't know. He might be.
He looked craggy and old even in Crocodile Dundee.
If he's not, he doesn't have to work anymore.
That's true. And really, isn't that the big win?
Yeah. Anyway, besides that game, it's going to be one of those, folks.
Oh, boy.
Strap in.
He's still alive.
Oh, okay.
He's 86 years old.
Hey, I bet he looks like he's 300. Oh, my gosh. Google him, y'all.
It's a little... Yeah, you know.
We got... This is not a joke.
Okay.
We got Jerry Garcia's Cosmic Journey.
Yes.
This is designed by Keith Baker, who did Gloom and Eberron.
Yeah.
Yes.
This invites you to 1 to 6 players to roll dice and navigate through a labyrinth adorned with Jerry's iconic art.
Oh, did he do artwork as well?
I guess so.
I just knew him as like the lead singer in the Grateful Dead.
Do people who are listening know who Jerry Garcia is?
He's the lead singer in the Grateful Dead.
Yes, or he was before he died.
He was before
Unlike
he died.
Paul Hogan, he is not alive.
He's associated with psychedelia.
He is, yes.
You're going to find that the box is also associated with it. I assume by transitive properties, Keith Baker is also associated with it.
I assume he is, yes. It says that it includes solo rules and journey jams for larger groups. And it lets you bring good vibes wherever you go.
That sounds fun.
Did do a lot of artwork, and it is very psychedelic looking.
Well, he was probably on a lot of acid or mushrooms when he did it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was.
I wonder if, like, because I'm not one of those, what do you call it, a deadhead.
Right.
I like him okay. But is he, like, really kind of known for that? Maybe?
Maybe.
As much, like, not as much as his
Well,
music,
David
but,
does say whether you're a dedicated deadhead or simply seeing a fun, quick-playing dice game, it will combine accessibility with enough depth to keep you coming back for more.
Okay.
So, you don't have to be a deadhead.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's play it. Let's pause the game. Pause the podcast.
All right.
We played it. It's pretty good.
So, we have a new Shadowrun book called Asphalt Jungle.
Okay.
It says the effects of the Dissian Shadow War created massive power vacuums in the Six World streets. I looked this up. I cannot find a quick description of what the Dissian Shadow War is.
I'll say this. I just know the lore in Shadowrun is super cool.
Yep.
I bet it's pretty cool.
It says it's in Motor City, so it's in Detroit. Because Shadowrun typically is in Seattle.
Yeah.
So this is like they didn't call it the Motor City or the Detroit source book. They call it Asphalt Jungle. Not very descriptive.
Right. Asphalt Jungle is a movie from the 1950s.
Right. What I would have called it is Shadowrun, Detroit, a.k.a. Motor City, called that because there are cars there.
But not too many roads.
But not a lot of cars now because of the Dissian Shadow War, which is... And then I would explain what the Dissian Shadow War was.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Just in the off chance people, by the way, don't know what Shadowrun is, it's the role-playing game, and sometimes some other associated stuff too, but with that's cyberpunk, but where fantasy magic has been kind of birthed back into the world, and so there's like elves and dwarves and shit, and they're casting magic spells, they're firing machine guns, they're doing cyberpunk stuff. It is a cool setting.
It is a great setting.
I was introduced to it through
a video game.
Super Nintendo
video game. It's a good video. I played the Sega Genesis one. It was really good.
That had to have been like... That's wild that this game,
this game is like 40 years old now.
Tabletop RPGs, right? It was introduced when Cyberpunk meant that there was no Wi-Fi. You had to plug in your neck, your spinal column into something. You had to jack into the net. I said jack in.
Yep.
Anyway, but listen, It was not common in the 80s for something that was a tabletop role-playing game to be turned into a video game for like a big, for like Sega or Nintendo and stuff like that. I know there were a few though, I guess over time stuff that, like, there was some vampire stuff. That D&D for sure made it, but anything smaller than D&D generally didn't. So
I never played many of the D&D video games until later.
They were good. Pool of Radiance? Love Pool of Radiance.
The side-scroller ones, those were fun too.
Yep, I played a side-scroller that was, it was kind of weird, but it was a Dragonlance one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you could choose from, you could play any of the characters from it. Now, they kind of all did a bit the same thing, but, I guess, just like in these games, like Raceland, I'm sure, threw little fireballs, and if you were playing, what's the brother who's...
Cameron?
Yeah.
Cameron is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
No, it's...
Is his name like Cameron or something? It's
Cameron.
Is it Cameron?
Wait,
really?
No, I'm saying...
It's something weird.
Caramon.
Yeah, I was like, it's definitely not Cameron.
It's Caramel.
Actually,
if you will, picture Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off with like a little spiked shoulder pad only.
Yes.
And that's who it was.
He's going to keep calling me. My brother Raceland's going to keep calling me. I'll go.
I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah, it kind of fits. It absolutely does.
How is Dork Tower one of those never done this?
Oh, I'm sure
Tanis is definitely Ferris.
Tanis' Day Off?
Yeah. Tanis Bueller's Day Off.
Tanis Bueller's Day Off. We have Munchkin Vox Machina.
Okay, yeah. With the popular...
It's the first campaign
Critical Role.
From Critical Role.
Yeah.
You can play, in addition to all the classic Munchkin gameplay, it includes a 20-sided die for facing some challenges. So
cool. Nice.
We have the Pathfinder RPG Beginner Box, new Beginner Box for the second edition. The adventure is called Secrets of the Unlit Star, which is a cool name.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of interesting. The player options in this, because it is Pathfinder, not D&D, are sort of secondary D&D classes that are more important to Pathfinder. So it's like a barbarian, a bard, a sorcerer, and a monk.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of cool.
I love that instead of fighter, rogue, wizard, kind of boring.
So
shit.
this is rogue light. It does not have a rogue. It's very rogue. It's rogue without.
Right. But technically also that is roguelite.
Yes, that's true.
There's fewer rogues.
There's fewer rogues.
Yeah.
Anti-rogue is
right.
They're not allowed.
Right. That's the anti-rogue.
Does it mean it's Monk Plus?
Monk Plus. Monk Plus roguelite.
Roguelite Monk Plus.
Yeah. I think we're really doing some good work on the language here.
Somewhere in our audience are some people who play roguelike games, and they're like, these chuckleheads, these
morons.
I'm done listening to this podcast forever.
We've lost to it, roguelite. I'm sorry.
We got those BattleTech salvage boxes, little blind boxes for BattleTech.
Oh, yeah.
That has stuff from Legendary Mech Warriors 1, 2, and 3, so previous units. I don't know what that means, but...
You will get a mech warrior in it.
Yep.
Listen, it's cool.
Yep.
So,
and you can...
Big robot fight.
We got, Morkborg, there's a lot of, third-party Morkborg stuff.
Yeah.
There's one called Farewell to Arms that is 4 faction-specific lore-building stories. It's 4 booklets that you get.
Oh, interesting.
This was kind of a cool thing.
And is that one for the fantasy one, Morkborg, the original?
Yes, and it's Campaign in the Dying Lands is what it says. So this is one of those things, basically, once it goes, it's probably going to be gone. They probably have a short print run.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a Morkborg thing...
Somebody came in the other day, asked if we had any Morkborg stuff. I was like, behold these 3 shelves filled with it.
Yeah.
And he was very excited, and he did walk out with 3 or 4 of them. So
he Morkborged himself.
He Borged up, yeah.
He Borged up.
Morgan.
He's Borg Plus roguelite. Starfinder gives us Tales from the Vast, a hardcover anthology of adventures that is either back-to-back campaign, 1st through 9th level, or you can play them separately as a one-shot.
Yep.
Kind of cool.
I like those kind of books.
Flashpoint Golden State Heroes is the co-op game of firefighters.
Yep. This is a game that I've been meaning to play since forever, and this is a repackaged or a kind of a specific... It's campaign, but it's not legacy.
So it is the Gold Company in Southern California.
Yes.
And there are 6 game boards representing a gauntlet of challenges. You can play them individually.
They sounded so cool.
Or you can play it as a campaign.
Does it say what they are?
It does not.
I'm going to look it up because...
Not in the notes I have.
What's the name of it again?
Golden State Heroes.
Okay.
Flashpoint Golden State Heroes.
Yeah, the different locations are very cool. There's an amusement park and stuff like that.
Nothing more fun than an amusement park on fire.
If you win, you get them out.
If you lose, all those people die.
They burn. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a game called Race to Berlin, a 2-player war game. You're either the U.S. or the USSR as you are trying to... This is a hybrid between board and war games. But it's World War II history. So it's like you were trying to be the first one to get to Berlin between the Russian and the U.S. armies. And then we got a game called Cities USA. I've played Cities. It's like a 3D builder. You sort of build... But it was like a European canal city. This is a American city. So there's skyscrapers, highways, and bridges. And you're it's a piece-moving game where you're sort of tile laying a little bit with 3D levels on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Fun game, and we have an expansion for it that I'm sure once it goes will be gone. But if you've played Cities, this looks like a fun expansion of it.
Randy,
Dave?
I have the Flashpoint Golden State locations.
Give me the locations.
A beach house, burned to the ground. Theme park, burned to the ground. Luxury yacht, burned to the ground.
Burned to the water.
Apartment fire.
Oof.
A train derailment. That sounds
Yikes.
cool. You're probably down in tunnels and shit.
Yep.
Oh, and then there's a specific... Okay, the train derailment must be above ground because there's a subway tunnel one. Anyway, these sound like they all present cool, unique challenges, and you get to play cool firemen, smash down doors, put out fires, send in the rescue dog, try not to get the people burned to the ground.
Yeah. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
And one last thing, we've got the new Dungeon Crawler Carl pins.
Yes.
These are, unlike the previous one, which were blind bags, these you can buy whichever one you want.
Yep.
Were there 10 of them, Nick?
I think so.
Feels like in that ballpark.
They look really cool.
They're really cool. We've
got
got
a little spinner
Yep.
right up on our counter.
Yep, and it's just in time for the Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 8 that came out last week, and Dungeon Crawler Carl
Marbles.
graphic novel that comes out this week.
Yep.
And like I say, you can come pick the ones. I believe Dave or Nick, you would say that the best one is the Samantha head.
Yes. I mean, Samantha is one of the best characters in the entire book. So
Doesn't show up till book 4, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's the Desperado Club one.
Yep.
There's a couple of different donut ones.
There's an anarchist
Dungeon
cookbook.
Anarchist
When one
cookbook.
hasn't read it, like me,
Yep.
it's funny because that all sounds like gibberish.
Well, yeah.
You say, there's the hula hoop laser one.
Yeah.
There's the undead mime. There's the...
Yeah, that could,
and I'm
that
like,
could
Believe
be.
me,
Sure.
Believe me, somewhere in the dungeon, those things exist.
I'm sure there's an undead mime. Yep. All right, let's talk about comics for the week. It is a huge week again.
It's a very good
and
week.
a really good week. I think we all read a whole bunch of comics and liked a lot of comics.
I probably haven't hit in a year or two or more this high a percentage of good to great comics.
Yeah. We don't usually do the best week of 2026 kind of thing we used to do.
It's true.
But this could be the best week of 2026.
This could be the best week.
Although if it was the best week, we'd have an issue of Matt Fraction's Batman, which came out last week instead.
It's true.
So it can't be
But
the
what's
best week.
interesting is this is kind of why it came from behind. There was third and fourth and fifth issues of things I like and stuff like that, and I was just like, how is it that they're all so good this week?
Yeah.
But there's also a few issue ones in the mix.
Let's start with the big new release this week, the one that we have a lot of, and I'm still not sure we're going to have enough of.
This would be my pick.
I really like this too. It is Absolute Green Arrow.
Yep. We've been talking about this, I think we've probably mentioned it.
Yeah, DC put out a trailer for it last week.
Yep. People who've been reading the Absolute books perhaps know that in Absolute Evil.
Yeah, it was Absolute Evil. One
that
shot.
the villains gathered in that, and the first appearance of Green Arrow, as much as we saw him, was as a corpse thrown down on the table, and they're like, "We got this guy snooping around, and we killed him."
Yeah, Hawkman killed him.
Yeah, Hawkman killed him, and so you might be wondering, how does he have a miniseries? Well, the answer is we don't know who this Green Arrow is.
True.
It could be somehow him brought back from the dead. It could be either of his traditional the kids he's had in the regular universe, Connor Hawk or
Arsenal
guy.
Arsenal guy.
Yes, Roy Harper.
Speedy Roy Harper. Yes, thank you.
Could be Mia Dearden. Who knows?
Because I'm not sure if you can. I was wondering. Yeah, can you? She is on the list, right?
She is.
And I would also say that because there's a sort of a scary Oni mask that the person is wearing. That could be like Lady Shiva.
They're very much doing a serial killer take. This is a he's
slightly even
he's a serial
horror-ish.
killer. Yeah, he's hunting billionaires.
Yeah,
and I'm for it.
It's got a little bit of a 70s grindhouse kind of vibe.
You're going to see some arrows and faces in this.
But because the mystery is who Green Arrow is, the lead character is Black Canary.
Yes,
it's a cool setup.
And This feels like a Rucka Black Canary. She's like an exec. She was a mixed martial artist.
Yep.
She was a military person, and now she's like a professional bodyguard.
Yep.
She was a police officer.
Oh, she was a cop. Yeah,
she was a cop.
And her dad was also a cop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She's real shredded and muscular in this, but is also like kind of good at like putting together the clues and stuff. And she gets hired by some billionaire types that she doesn't want to work for, but who, when she is desperate for to get her dad on better insurance because he's got, I guess, an unnamed illness, but he's sick. So that puts her on a collision course with this mysterious Green Arrow. There's some. Actually, I loved the flashbacks to showing when she and Oliver Queen.
Yep.
Who, to everyone's best knowledge, is dead now, but how they got together, how the Green Arrow was actually like was it like, it's not like
stock
it was a stock that they were selling, and
basically easy to navigate program that anyone could use to.
Right, he was trying to. He had has a pretty reasonable philosophy that. He's like, you in this world you gain wealth through power, and he wanted to democratize that, so it wasn't just rich people who were able to trade stocks, and he's trying to do this good thing. But because Ollie's a billionaire too, he's the kind of guy who might hunt himself, and that irony is rarely lost on the writers who are writing him.
Yeah, the character backstories are really interesting.
Yep.
They're fleshed out. The artwork by Raphael Albuquerque is stunning.
Super good, yeah. These action sequences are so good. I think people are going to like this.
Yeah.
The writer on this, by the way, is Pornstock Picketshot. I looked up pronunciation.
Oh, okay, very
That's
cool.
correct.
I don't know. Is that a gentleman or a lady?
He's a Thai-American television and comics writer. He's worked for Vertigo. He was a Vertigo editor. He's been nominated for Eisners and Harvey Awards.
Okay.
He did most notably The Good Asian, which was a really good noir series.
Yep.
I am really pleased with this first issue.
It's a huge
super good.
for
And
him.
Raphael Albuquerque's art is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love this. It is absolutely not my Green Arrow. I want a very different type of, not a murderous, but
I like the wisecracking cynic. And this, we don't even know what his deal is.
But it's funny because they talk about, they're like, in the advertising, like, he doesn't use trick arrows. But in fact, he has 2 trick arrows. I mean, the tricks are poisoning grenades, but they are tricks.
Yes, that's true.
I did like the grenade arrow because it literally was
it's just a grenade on an arrow
attached to the arrow.
But it was also drawn so cool.
It was really good, yeah.
And by the way, in the flashbacks, he's not dissimilar to the classic DC
True, yes.
Green Arrow.
Yeah. Only Queen is traditional, but he's
right.
He reminded me a lot of Green Arrow Year One, the Andy Diggle and Jock.
Yeah.
I just realized, and my out there theory is that this is Ollie resurrected somehow. It's like a vengeance demon or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sure.
Remember how Ollie got killed, and it was a big deal when Kevin Smith brought him back?
Yeah.
So Ollie being killed and resurrected is not unlike the continuity.
Right?
So that's my bet.
All right, I got a weird one for you.
Okay, yep.
Nick, you go first.
No.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Connor, but
Connor Hawk.
I do like it because Connor is traditionally kind of a pacifist.
Yeah.
and he'd be seeking revenge on the people who basically killed his.
He might be like, I was
Yep.
a pacifist until you killed my pappy.
Until you pushed me too far.
Yep. All right, I think it is resurrected, but it's dead man driving the body.
Oh, absolute dead man.
And Absolute Dead Man is stealth entering, and his stealth entered the chat room.
I like it. I like
That
it.
could be fun.
And that's like some kind of Nanda Parbat mask or something like that, which is where he's from.
I will say
Or
though,
gets his
if you're
powers.
liking any of the Absolute books, and many of our customers are,
Yep.
you're not going to want to miss this.
This
one.
was great.
This was
really
you know,
good.
I was looking this up the other day. It is, though there have been a few one-shots and things like that, it is the first new series in like over a year for the Absolute.
that's
And
true.
this is a mini.
A little bit over a year. Yeah, right. But same deal.
And yeah, Absolute Catwoman's coming out in about 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also looks pretty good. We've seen a preview of it.
seen
The
a
art's
preview.
gorgeous.
It's-
It's spectacular.
Yep.
All right. Also, Absolute Flash comes out this week. I'm still really digging Absolute Flash. I don't know if y'all are keeping up. I think
I'm
the only one
not
keeping up.
current.
but-
I was starting to read the graphic novels, but I need for another one to come out, which
Yep.
it's not too far from.
It's in June.
Yeah.
We also have Odin, a new book from James Tinian and Marguerite Bennett. with art by Letizia Cronici.
I really like this.
This is really good.
It's kind of like it kind of goes without saying. Most of the time, James Tinian's horror stuff is pretty dark.
I was gonna say this is extremely dark.
This has that folk horror aspect to it a little bit.
But like the creepiest part is kind of the regular. There's neo-Nazi, like Scandinavian, like neo-Nazis.
Yeah,
types.
and our lead is a journalist who's infiltrated them.
Yeah, and it's I'm scared for her.
They're going out to the woods to like engage with Nordic myth.
Right. They're kind of doing a the leader guy, the kind of enigmatic leader, he's like, what if I told you we were going to resurrect a god tonight?
Yep.
But I think what they're going to find out is like this is like scary old world pagan magic.
Yep.
And not like Odin, who's going to come in and be like, yes, for the white race.
Yes,
that's what they want.
That's what they want.
But the portrayal of them is very realistic. They I think in their own solicit they brought up that movie Green Room.
Yeah.
So if anybody's seen that, was that like a neon movie or like
it was neon.
Yeah. But a very harrowing movie about like sort of like a punk bar band that's traveling around and like they take some gig and they don't realize it's like basically a neo-Nazi bar.
Yep.
They played like this kind of hardcore music and they didn't realize that the Nazis were that it was going to be their audience. And so in the middle of like early on in the movie they're playing, they figure out kind of who their audience is and they start talking some trash and like about Nazis in it.
Doesn't go very well.
They end up having to hole up in the green room inside this like kind of club in this small town because these Nazis are going to kill them. And what follows is this very tense and violent standoff. By the way, Patrick Stewart plays the head of the neo-Nazis.
Yep, he does.
Yep.
Was it Anton Yelchin? One of his last roles is one of the band members. Is he the guy who takes a kind of grievous injury? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I still think about that scene. Anyway. It does have that harrowing aspect of that movie in there, but it is also. I'm also like, oh well, it's good. I'm going to want to watch these people die, but I'm worried about the lady who's the undercover person. So the comic has done its job.
Yep. Also, like with all Tinian properties, gorgeous artwork.
Yeah, the art's really good.
I don't recognize
not
that
somebody
artist,
I know, but
they take that kind of folklore and kind of just
it's
give
not,
it that energy.
It's not wildly different than Something's Killing the Children as far as the art
No,
goes.
it's like Where the Dollar.
Yeah, there's some very interesting colors in here. They're kind of very sharp colors in it. I would. This was one of my candidates for pick of the week for sure.
Chris Condon has a couple books this week.
Yep.
One is his new image book Of the Earth with Walking Dead artist Charlie Adlard. That is sort of a oil field horror thing.
Yeah, a little bit like if you took that kind of the visual aesthetic of the opening of No Country for Old Men, those barren Texas plains.
Yep. Or Yellowstone or one of those things.
Yeah.
So this one is also part of like one of my picks of the week potentially.
And I'm not usually super big on Chris Condon stuff, although I've liked some of it before. But it has a good catch where it begins with a kind of sort of in media res as far as like you're seeing this young woman who's fleeing some sort of bad life.
Yep.
So maybe abuse, maybe had been engaged in some kind of crime. And she's trying to get back to her small town where her grandmother kind of raised her when she was a kid, and she has some fond memories. But just even getting there, some weird stuff happens, and there is a excerpt from a invented novel in it at the beginning about a sort of cryptid, I guess is what I describe it as, that is sort of haunts like, what do they call them, wildcat oil wells? We think there could be oil. We're going to put up a single small like oil derrick thing,
drill down
and drill.
Down.
But and
sometimes they don't hit oil. They hit something else.
Sometimes they get something else. And I like the idea of expanding on sort of a southwestern myth like that.
Yeah, it was a cool idea. I liked the excerpt. When I was reading it, I'm like, oh, I opened it and I was immediately like, oh, wall of text, interesting. But
right. I actually skipped the wall of text until I read the whole rest of the comic, which you can do, kind of.
Yeah, you can.
It's a good engaging suspense story, and then I was like, oh, you know what, that was good enough. I'm going to go back and read the wall of text.
But the wall of text actually it kind of expands on it and kind of lets you in on a few little secrets. Yep. It's really it's additive.
It is in that same sort of way as like the Watchmen
and I like
pieces.
He did a text piece afterwards kind of talking to him about like the roots of this and why he was really interested in the ideas
in the back.
I'm trying to remember, did Condon do that new Vertigo book, the kind of noir one.
He's in the as a Kane, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm liking him a little bit more and more. And he wrote That Texas Blood, which has really resonated with our customers.
The Gang Massacre, whatever that one's called.
Enfield
Gang Massacre, which I really enjoyed.
Yep. And we should mention that this is drawn by Charlie Adlard, who you might know from drawing 98% of the Walking Dead comic.
Yep.
He only didn't draw like the first 6 issues or whatever.
This is a really good issue. I think it's worth your time.
And a reminder, the title is Of the Earth.
Yep.
Check it out if you're on that, like that horror or crime kind of comics.
Yeah.
It kind of touches on both.
Condon also he was writing Ultimate Wolverine.
Right.
Yep.
And he is writing Reborn Ultimate Impact, which is...
That's a mouthful of a name.
One of the follow-ups from the Ultimate Universe ending. So there are 3 stories going on here.
Yes.
One is the Negative Zone Universe 6160, which is not our universe, I think.
Not 616, but 6160.
I don't know if that's the Ultimate Universe, but basically Blastar's forces are facing off against Negative Zone Vikings, led by Hostilicus the Devastator.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's some they're like shaping up to be the big bad. Maybe there's gonna be an invasion.
Okay.
Miles is trying to get the origin boxes, which he brought back from the Ultimate Universe.
Right. Are these Mystic or
these are Tony
sciencey?
Stark's. They are Tony Stark's inventions.
Okay.
Basically, give somebody a power.
They've got an origin in a box for various characters.
Yep.
He is going to. He's supposed to be meeting Tony Stark in our universe to give them to him, and he gets intercepted by the Spot.
Okay.
And then we are introduced. While he is battling the Spot, we are introduced to several characters who, by the end, will be getting origin boxes and be new characters.
That concept of origin boxes sounds goofy to me at first, but I sort of thought about it and I was like, if they sort of end up pushing it a little bit, it could almost become a thing. I could see it in the same way that the Infinity Gems are. You know, you'd be like playing Marvel Rivals, and you'd be like, oh, there's a certain like origin boxes are materializing around. If you pick it up, you can get a power switch for a little while or something like that. But yes, in this, it seems like Miles is sort of like the caretaker, and so I assume it'd be a little bit like being told you have some Infinity Gems, not quite that level.
Yeah, no,
but you got to watch out for this stuff.
IDW, who have had their very successful horror line, are launching a crime line. This starts with 7 Wives, which is a...
I meant to read that. It's like a Mormon...
It's like a Mormon compound in Arizona. Yeah, it's...
Right.
It's there's a murder. The guy who's murdered is the head of a...
polygamous
cult. And so they're interviewing the wives. He has 7 of them. Only one is officially his wife. But they're trying to figure out what happened. And
are we going to find out they're witches?
There's all kinds of stuff going on. They're not witches, I don't think.
I bet they're witches.
But maybe they are.
But I do think that'd be kind of an interesting story. So I sort of hope it is that.
There's a new Zorro by Howard Chaykin and Jorge Fornes on art.
If you're a comic reader who kind of knows the backstory on comics and stuff, Alex Toth famously in like I think the 70s, could have been 60s, did these very beautifully drawn Zorro comics. And this visually, I can tell, is a complete homage to them.
Okay.
And I feel like this artist, how do you say it? Jorge
Fornes, yep.
Is living up to it. And there's kind of an interesting premise, too. Chaykin has them going up against, like, some forces from Napoleon. Because I sort of forget that overlaps with Zorro's time.
Okay, I knew Fornes' name looks familiar to me. He did some issues of Immortal Thor. And some Moon Knight, Black, White, and Red. And what did he do that I know?
He did an issue of New Gods. He
worked on Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. So he's a Spanish artist. He's done some really good stuff.
Yeah, also drew that Rorschach miniseries from before Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I thought that was Brian Azzarello or something. Or did he just do covers?
Brian Azzarello is a writer.
Who's
Eduardo
the guy?
Rizzo.
Oh, no. I'm
no,
wrong.
not Rizzo.
It's the Tom King one, not...
Lee Bermejo. That's who I was thinking of.
It's the Rorschach Tom King that he...
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Young Hellboy gets a new miniseries. This is it's co-written by Tom Snigowski, who's written a lot of the Bone stuff with Jeff Smith.
Is this in fact kind of like all ages fun adventure?
Yep, and it has Craig Russo art, so it's very cutesy and cartoony.
Yep.
If you want to see Young Hellboy be
since he was summoned originally in the 1940s, I assume this would be in the 1950s.
It's in the late 40s, early 50s.
Yep.
They're probably fighting Nazis.
Yep.
There's also a couple other one-shots. Murder Drones Home. I don't think any of us read it, but Murder Drones has a following. It's a video game-based thing.
Yep.
It's a one-shot. Rocketfellers #0, the Ghost Machine
Analog to FF.
Yeah, sort of there. Battle Beast. We have a new issue of Battle Beast this week, which I know, Nick, you and I both really enjoyed.
It's kind of fun.
But also, that's issue 9. Issues 1 through 7 are all reprinted.
Yeah.
So if you missed any of them, and you don't want to do trades for whatever reason, we have all of them. Number 8 should be coming back in about 2 weeks.
Live your life as you will. Get those single issues if you want them.
Yes. We also got a reprint of Web of Venom number 1, the sort of weird one that reveals a new Venom Spider-Man from another universe.
I was not thrilled with the reveal, but the more I thought about it, the more I was entertained.
It's very odd, but it's entertaining.
I liked the issue.
Yeah, it was a good issue.
Me too. It's just strange.
Again, I don't think any of us were just like, this is what we've been waiting for, or this is what anybody has been waiting for.
But I feel like...
But it's not uninteresting.
I feel like that could be said by a lot of Spider-Man stories, like Otto taking over his body.
Right.
I was not...
Yeah, we weren't on board, and then we all wanted really liking it.
I am inclined to give symbiotes a little bit of leeway right now, since Carnage and Venom have both been so good in the last year or two.
Wild.
Yeah.
There is, in fact, a really good issue of Venom this week.
There's a really good Venom this week.
Yeah.
They it's got a really nice cover. It's just Peter and MJ walking in the park.
He just found out that she was the all-new
It's
Venom.
kind of the issue I've been wanting, because I really want
Yes.
MJ and Peter to be talking.
It's also the funeral for Paul.
Yep. There's some interesting stuff in this where they mention a few things that they do elevate Paul a bit.
Yep.
And they also remind people that, like, MJ hooking up with him when she was in that alternate universe wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. She had, like, 2 or 3 years in, like, weird Narnia time, alternate time.
In, like, a hellish Narnia.
In which, it developed and all this stuff. And I was kind of like, if they had really wanted in any way for Paul to become a character, for they clearly didn't, they could have brought this stuff up any time as a reminder to the readers, but Paul was a weird side note. He's going to be one of the weirdest side notes in Spider-Man history, because he is basically treated the way Meg is on Family Guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, exclusively a punching bag. But that said, he's handled as well. It's handled as well as I've seen in this one. And there's an interesting thing that the Peter and MJ conversation is good. It calls back the original MJ comic where she told him her kind of life where she was abused in the 80s.
Yeah.
That I remember getting when I was a kid. This is like a 40 or like 35-year-old reference or something like that. And there is an amazing sequence at the end where he's like, I want to just talk to Venom for this, just the symbiote for a minute. And there's something in there that's really darkly funny and also supremely messed up. But it is a great character issue.
And I think that the ending of it leaves it in an interesting space.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm very curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
Al Ewing, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 books come to an end this week. Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon, the lead-in to Armageddon Assembles, also tying into Chip Zdarsky's Captain America.
Wolverine kind of trying to basically get people out of the Weapon X program or redeem them if they're in it.
Well, they've got that crazy super soldier Nuke, who worked with Wolverine back in the day, which I thought was a good bit of continuity. And they've got, like, super nukes in here. They're like clones with cybernetics. And so Nuke sort of winds up a reluctant ally.
I was going to say, if you told me at the beginning of this that Nuke would be a character that I was rooting for, I would not have guessed that.
Nuke was... I always knew him as, like, one of the great kind of one-off villains for his appearance in Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again. But I was just like, he's a really cool character in that I never really wanted to see anything with him past that, and most of the other times I've been kind of lukewarm on him. But yes, Zdarsky found the story.
Yeah.
Also, they're the Captain America of the Desert Storm that Zdarsky introduced.
Yes,
has a really interesting turn in this one. I did not see that one coming.
I also appreciated that Zdarsky really got Wolverine.
Yeah, for sure.
He got Logan and kind of his ability to inspire, but also kind of like be as ferocious as he can be.
Right. He's always going to inspire from a certain kind of like, he feels like the guy who's like the out in the field who's like, I'm going to do anything I'm going to ask you to do.
Yeah.
But he does have a little bit of X-Men inspiration in his underpinnings.
Takes people under his wing.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't exactly know what Armageddon's going to be. I know it involves the Red Hulk sort of trying to take over America and a dark future. But I'm very fascinated to see what Zdarsky does with this.
Agreed.
And this is a really good miniseries.
When he writes General Ross, a.k.a. Red Hulk, I'm unnerved around him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He feels like the sort of worst American excesses.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Not in any way relevant to today.
not in any way relevant today. You'd have to find like somebody who was kind of like hawkish and a little bit insane.
And in the wrong color. Like orange or red.
Like a deep orangish
a deep
red.
orange, yeah, like a deep orange Hulk. Yeah, I don't think Zdarsky, as a Canadian writer, probably doesn't even know about any of that. I'm sure it's not deliberate.
Yeah.
No.
Canada doesn't intersect much with America anyway.
No.
We've never done
wouldn't.
anything to
It's not-
provoke
no.
that.
They're just America's hat. They don't have to worry about what's going on down here. Everything's great.
Meanwhile, they're like, let it burn. Let it burn.
Sirens Love Hurts, the 4-issue miniseries by Teenie Howard and Bab Starr, comes to a very satisfying conclusion on Green Arrow and Black Canary's wedding day.
Yep.
I love the way they worked all that in.
Yep, I don't want to spoil this because I know, Nick, you haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
No, but
It is a really good ending
Yep.
that has like kind of multiple sort of levels of the ending.
Yep.
There is the main plot ending. There is kind of stuff about Black Canary's connection with these villainesses.
Yep.
There is stuff with Batman and Catwoman. Even though this isn't the regular DC universe, it actually feels kind of momentous the way they do it.
Yeah.
And there is some interesting stuff that about the interaction between the Sirens in this and like the Justice League.
Yep.
And like I feel like the ending gives you a lot of really satisfying moments.
I really hope that this is a very good miniseries. I'll pick up this hardcover, but I really hope they do more. I would love to see more of this from them.
It feels like it could handle it.
Yep.
And yes, I want the exact same creative team.
Rogue number 5 is the end of the Rogue miniseries, which introduced some stuff from Uncanny X-Men that I think, Dave, you and I were like, what's that? But mostly this is a good Rogue dealing with some crimes from her past.
Yep, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because it's sort of like something that she's like both partially responsible for, but also partially not. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is that the resolution doesn't give her total closure.
Yeah.
I don't want to quite say what happens.
I appreciated that,
but
too.
they kind of acknowledged that you're not always going to get this sort of like perfect uplifting moment where everything is fixed. So I dig that. By the way, also really good cover from David Nakayama of like very classic 90s Rogue, just really, really nicely rendered.
G.I. Joe number 22 brings in the Skybound version of Crystal Ball.
The goofiest villain Cobra ever had.
But he's got like weird hypnotic powers in this one, right?
Right.
Like,
it's like a technology he's developed that probably has some Energon basis for it. That's kind of like he calls it Dire Tech.
and that's an acronym.
And that's an acronym, and we don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
But he does say something about what it does, and I don't want to blab it out. But
it's a cool
essentially,
idea.
Basically, Cobra Commander sends Destro off on like a mission that Destro doesn't really want to go on. He's like, this is a bad use of my time. But in this, like, Cobra Commander's kind of the boss, and he's like, okay, I'll go.
Well, it's a turnaround from the last one where Destro convinced Cobra Commander to go out on a thing, and the
Dreadnoks nearly killed him.
Well, he set that whole thing in motion that the Dreadnoks were trying to kill him.
I guess that is true.
So
did they make out? Does Cobra Commander know that?
yeah, I mean, Cobra Commander knows it.
Okay.
He is
Also-
not dumb.
Also, we're getting a lot more of is it Risk?
Yep. Risk.
The new G.I. Joe. We get a lot more of him this issue
But
too.
yeah, basically, they're in a sort of Eastern European fictional country that's or a city within a country that is like weird and deserted. And basically, you've got Destro's mission team and you've got a small Joe mission team. There's some very interesting banter between both groups, all of which kind of moves forward their storylines. Stuff with Baroness, stuff with Risk, and stuff with Destro. And a pretty cool reveal on Crystal Ball, who is kind of a cool weird villain in this. I really like how they're doing him.
Yeah, this was another good issue of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that it's a great series.
Superman Unlimited continues the story of the reign of the Superboys. So Superman is missing. This is the one that has two versions of John Kent, the original and the new one who's calling himself Tomorrow Man because he doesn't want to let on that he's the older version of Kent.
Yep.
And it also introduces the modern day Beppo the Super Monkey.
Yes. In a story that's kind of a little dark a few times.
It is.
It's like, imagine that Superman strength in a, tear your face off chimp.
Yep.
Now, they don't go to face tearing off territory.
No.
but he bites some people.
He does.
But
And,
also, like, there's some bad people that he bites.
Yep.
And I was like, good for you, Beppo.
Yep.
But,
And Bibbo befriends Beppo.
Bibbo Babowski, a.k.a.
Babowski.
the kind of tough guy sailor with a heart of gold who's, like, Superman's biggest fan since, the late 80s?
Yeah.
It was an original character that they made up around that time.
Yep.
He has taken Beppo under his wing, so I think really so that they could do the Beppo thing.
Is this a Dave Letterman?
And it's
Uma
goofy,
Oprah?
but it's actually like, the story does take itself seriously, and there's like some serious like emotional stakes for and some stuff mentioned about the younger Superboy in this one.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. There's also one of the things I really like in this is the sort of high tech Daily Planet that they're doing.
Oh man!
So
yeah.
Lois like holographically goes in, and one of their editors is a woman from Gorilla City.
Yep.
There's a great bit. She's like, "Can you cobble up some kind of tech that can help us communicate with the super monkey?" She's like, "Are you saying since I come from Gorilla City, I can talk monkey? Is that what you're trying to say?" And she's like, "I'll just mess with you. I can do that. Super easy."
Yeah. The little side stuff with Lois kind of running the Daily Planet with integrity, by the way, I really like.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, I'm really digging this. I don't know where they're going with it, but I'm really enjoying what Slott is doing with Superman.
Right. Wasn't it in was it in the Snyderverse movies that we had great actor Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White?
Yep.
But wasn't he kind of, if it bleeds, it leads?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It was
come on.
Dave, there's nothing Zack Snyder can't ruin.
You do not write the Daily Planet without integrity.
Yep. All three DC Next Level issues are the inaugural ones get an issue this week. So Lobo number 3, which has a flashback to young Lobo on Zarnia on a 4th grade field trip
Where he gets his first.
where he first encounters space dolphins.
Yep.
Oh,
This
nice.
has the artist doing it is named
it's not Jorge Corona?
Nicoletta Baldari does the past. Jorge Corona does the framing sequences set in the modern day.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did appreciate. Jorge Corona has him in his purple and orange costume. That was his original Omega Man
Right.
appearance.
Long before Lobo looked quite the way we know him now, he was kind of a weird bounty hunter wearing like an old onesie jumpsuit, they did in 70s sci-fi, like Logan's Run and stuff.
But they sort of redefine it as sort of his pajamas.
Yeah, that's fairly ingenious.
The framing device of basically.
I need to read this.
This was
organization giving him kind of a psychiatric evaluation,
and
is pretty great.
Lobo has a run-in with a Green Lantern.
Oh yeah,
Baby Lobo. There's some fun
the
stuff.
flashback
in this one.
art in this is really good.
Yeah,
It is.
It's a really fun book. I'm really digging the Lobo.
I am too.
Deathstroke the Terminator is brings in Deadshot, who I asked this on my Facebook. Nobody could seem to tell me. Wasn't Deadshot dead? Tom Taylor killed him.
I thought so.
And I don't think anybody's... But he's been back in several books.
Yeah, you can't kill him.
Did Tom Taylor kill him in that Suicide Squad
Yes, he did. It just seems like they've completely ignored it. Which,
Too bad.
I'm not against it. I don't want Deadshot to be dead.
But there was good stuff in that
Yeah.
run, too.
But Deathstroke is being hunted by Deadshot and Deathblow from the Wildstorm universe.
That's a ridiculous amount of death, people.
A lot of death, yeah.
But, did you say Deathblow?
Deathblow.
Okay.
And there's also some flashbacks to them trying to set up a sort of league for killers where they all will have a certain code that they work by.
Okay.
Which features
That's actually
like
kind of a neat idea.
Merlin, Wintergreen,
Like Malcolm Merlin.
Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins, Cheshire, KG Beast, Black Spider.
Who's the crazy, originally introduced as a crazy Vietnam vet guy who had the gun that fired kryptonite bullets?
Oh, Blood Sport.
Bloodsport, yeah.
Yep.
I feel like he needs to be in the
He should. Deathblow, Deadshot, Bloodsport.
Yes.
Blood Kill,
Yeah.
Death, Blood Kill, Kill,
Yeah.
Blood.
But honestly, very appropriate for a Deathstroke book.
It is true.
All of those characters.
And then Batwoman 3 is more of a mystery of what's going on. That Kate Kane seems to be locked in an asylum, but also going out as Batwoman.
Yeah, we're not quite sure how she's pulling it all off. Her dad, who's former special ops,
He's a military. He's like a general.
He's a general, yeah. Is trying to track her down. Batman gets involved. She does kick some butt in this.
I have questions, but the art and kind of like
Speaking of the question is also in this.
it's true. The art by Danny continues to be
Really good.
really
Yep.
good, and
You know what else I like? I like the kind of unusual setting, which is in the
Greece.
cityscapes of Greece. Yes.
The New Titans, number 35, is the third part of their next level story they've been doing with them.
Right.
And this explains why they picked these new Titans. There's a reasoning behind it, which I kind of like.
Oh, okay.
And so the new Titans team is actually a pretty good one. It's got Tara and John Kent and Spoiler, who apparently is now just called Batgirl, even though
That's
she's
Tara, who had been dead. Tara.
Yep.
Okay.
And Kid Devil and Yara Flor. And it's a fun
Yara's
read.
the Wonder Woman sort of South
Wonder
America.
Woman, yeah. Anyway, it's a fun read. My probably pick this week is Imperial Guardians number 3. These sort of Black Ops Guardians working for the new Imperium that's run by Maximus.
Well, at least he's running.
He's their intelligence
Star-Lord
guy.
is running
It's
it,
Black Bolt.
but Maximus is like their
And I like Gamora.
ops guy.
Gamora's sort of the lead of this one.
Yep.
And they go up against the Cheshire Imperial Guard.
You know what I liked about this? I was just thinking, like, I know this is probably not always the case, but I always think of the Cheshire Imperial Guard as, like, real badasses.
Yep.
Because in the X-Men's hardest fight ever, when they tried to save Phoenix, they whooped them.
They whooped them.
And I was like, they kind of whoop up in this, too.
They do. They're a threat.
Whenever they show up, like, except for, by the way, Crazy Ghost Rider, who I do appreciate his kind of crazy depiction in this.
Yeah.
Everybody is, like, scared of these guys
Yep.
and worried about them, and they do kick some ass. I was like, I always want them to be that way.
I'm still a little weirded out about how Cosmic Ghost Rider is here, because he's from far in the future.
It's true.
But I'm not choosing to ask questions because I really like their take on him.
Is this the Shire Guard that includes Gladiator, or just
No,
the
no
Shire
Gladiator.
Guard? Okay.
No, but they do
Yeah.
have like the guy, one of those guys who has like, what do they call him? The Smasher,
Yeah.
who has a lot of Superman-esque powers. And I really like how when Dan Abnett writes about that stuff, he talks about somebody having like the Smasher being almost like a sort of a core, or like he's had Smasher powers like uploaded to him or something. I forget exactly how he phrases it, but it all sounds really cool. Like his treatment of all of them is really good. There's a Chimelian, the horse people from Power Pack, who's like this mathematician who's like, he's kind of the MacGuffin of the thing, and there's some interesting twists and turns that have to do with him, but basically he's become like the most sought man in the universe because he's got like an equation that can bypass almost any kind of security and take over tech devices. And they like casually mention like, oh, like he could override the control safety features in like a Space Knight armor. Like he's using deep dives into the Marvel universe. Let's see. They say Shire Fleet, the Union Central Core, Space Knight's biocoding. Basically, he said this guy has created the ultimate universal passkey, and so like everybody's after him. And there's a cool heisty energy to it with those interstitials where they kind of. Office style, or I guess
it's kind of where they do the talk to the camera thing, but it kind of works.
Yeah, I think so.
Fantastic Four is another issue. This one is revisiting. S.H.I.E.L.D. wants them to rebuild, or Maria Hill from S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to rebuild the Future Foundation, and they kind of turn to the Thing to do it, and he's like, I'm not a thinker, what are you doing? And it's a really good exploration of the Thing, and more than just a smashy guy.
Nice.
That he's like the heart of the team. There's also a backup story by Stan Sakai that pits them against the Mole Man.
That is very fun. I do need to look at that. I just want to see the Usagi Yojimbo style art on the FF.
Inglorious X-Force, I think we've all been enjoying this. I don't know if Dave, you're still up on it.
I missed an issue somewhere in there, so I got a little off track. But I happened to read the previous issue, and I did like it. I'll probably catch back up on this.
The central premise of this is that Miss Marvel is going to be the first mutant president.
Yep.
Cable saw that. And that she is killed by one of the people in this X-Force team that he's put together.
Right.
And so each issue has been is this the one?
A focus on that.
Yeah. One
of those members.
So this is a focus on Archangel. I really like it. There's also a bit of a reveal as what's going on a little bit.
Yep.
And this book continues to be really good. And I'm not always an X-Force fan, but I thought this was a really good take on it.
Seeley's take is really interesting.
It is really good.
Predator Bloodshed reaches its penultimate issue. This is a future illegal fighting ring versus Predator. I've been really enjoying this. It's also got a little bit of the rich douchebags versus the white collar or the blue collar fighters.
Yep.
And the Predator is like the fly in the ointment. Amazing Spider-Man introduces a new villain who is mushroom themed. Spore is
I've
what he's
not
called.
read this, but the cover looks kind of cool. It looks like I feel like there was a cover of him, like it's an homage cover, but maybe it's not. Coming out of like the what's the river in New York? Like the most
Hudson.
common, like Hudson River or something like that. But he's like all covered in spores in this.
So the weird thing about this book, the art's by Pete Woods, by the way, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's really writing the Spider-Man I want. He was a big jerk, and people think he's a big jerk, and he was replaced by Norman Osborn and Ben Reilly at some point.
Yep.
And he's been out in space. There's some weird stuff going on in this book.
It's true.
But I'm kind of liking where they're going with it now, and having seen him in Death Spiral and having really liked that, I'm kind of following along a little bit again. Punisher number 4 is more of Punisher versus Jigsaw with Microchip in the mix is sort of classic Punisher. Tombstone's in there too.
So pick right up from the last one where he shoots himself in the head.
Yes. Yeah, but it was with a super tech gun.
Right.
Yeah. Dead Teenagers is Oni's like a time loop book that I've been really enjoying. It's kind of self-aware and fun. And then Super Creep Show has been a fun anthology with super-powered horror stories. This one has a James Herron written and drawn, and one with art by Juan Cabal. So really nice art in all of these.
That is definitely an idea whose time has come.
Yep.
The idea of superhero horror.
Do y'all have any other single issues? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Trade-wise, another big week for trades, too. Not quite as big as a couple weeks ago, but we got a book called The Lost Company. This is something that we got direct from an Emmy Award-winning creator, Andy Soriano and Cam Beatty. They worked on Samurai Jack, Rise of the TMNT, Robot Chicken, Clone Wars, all kinds of stuff. This is a science fantasy epic. It says there's a captain and a dame. That's the title dame, not a 40s dame.
Yep.
Lead their battered platoon through the depths of the severed veils. So it's like a dungeon crawl kind of thing.
It is really amazing looking
Stunning
fantasy
art.
It looks like sort of European or maybe even specifically like almost like the Italian art from the graphic albums. And I think we've got it faced out up front like as a feature.
It's a big oversized hardcover, and this is one of those when it's gone, it may be gone forever.
Yeah.
But
if you like fantasy stuff, definitely.
Yeah, flip through the art. It's really nice. Mm-hmm. We got the softcover collection of a digital first book that Brian Vaughan did with Marcos Martin. I think it's Marcos Martin, right?
It is.
Called Barrier.
Oh, okay.
That is sort of it's about the border, but it's also about like alien technology.
Yep.
We have DC Finest Sergeant Rock, which I can't remember if this is the first or second one they've done of their work.
I think it might be the second one. But you're going to see like some really amazing artists on all of those ones. Same as on like DC Westerns.
Yep.
You know, it's like I know like Russ Heath and Joe Kubert and I forget, maybe even sometimes Alex Toth and stuff like that. Like always some really great art on that. Plus you get to see Sergeant Rock bust some caps in Nazis.
Yep.
A win-win.
Dungeon Crawler Carl Volume 1, the first 5-6 graphic novel adaptation from Webtoon. We have a handful of these.
Oh, does it adapt the whole book? Or
No, it's
half,
the first.
About half a book.
Is it half? Okay.
I think so.
It's. We definitely underordered on this. We did not know how big Dungeon Crawler Carl was going to be. So we may sell out early, but we already have like 10 more copies coming in. And so if you don't get a chance to get it tomorrow, you can probably pick it up.
It does have 2 different covers.
It's 2 different covers, yep. There is, we got the Fear Agent Compendium, another Rick Remender thing.
That was one of his breakouts.
Yeah, it's his like 50s sci-fi, a guy who lost his wife. He like goes to other planets and fights aliens.
Yep. It's kind of like a blue collar action hero kind of thing in a pulp sci-fi universe, like with ray guns and stuff. But these ray guns are probably going to like shoot a hole through you, like in Mars Attacks.
Man, I forget who the artist is, but he's Tony Moore. Okay,
yeah,
it's gorgeous.
The other Walking Dead artist, the guy who did about 5% of Walking Dead or less.
We got a collection of Flash Gordon from 1995. Dave, you noticed this one? It was
it's a really interesting pairing. It is probably the last great thing, maybe even last thing he produced of Al Williamson, the EC Comics artist from the 1950s who did amazing sci-fi work and is also known in the 70s and 80s for doing the really well-drawn Star Wars adaptations from Marvel. Yeah. He did like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Howard Chaykin did the first Star Wars one. His art didn't look so great.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what to make of these things, so he was just like drawing like R2 as this little blobby bucket. But Al Williamson stuff, he was a guy who could use photo reference really well. So he's a really good guy, and he has his roots in the 50s. So here he comes in doing like a kind of a classic, like it's almost like a lost Flash Gordon story, based in the classic comic strip era. It's written by Mark Schultz, who did Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and himself drew in that kind of illustrator elaborate style.
Yeah.
So he's writing. There's some great art from Al Williamson. It was originally the 2 issues of a Prestige format series.
Okay.
And incidentally, I think this was the one. I think I got signed by Al Williamson at like one of the last conventions he went to in the early '90s.
Yeah.
And I have a Flash Gordon sketch from him that goes all the way back to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it was amazing to see him do that sketch. He like freehanded this very cool little scene with like a background and everything.
Oh wow.
So yeah. But anyway, it is just like an awesome little standalone kind of old school Flash Gordon story.
We got the Gotham Central DC Compact Edition. This is co-written by Rucka and Brubaker, art by Michael Lark. I can't tell exactly how much is in the looking to see if it says anywhere how many issues are in.
Is it just 6 or is it 12?
So it is the Mr. Freeze.
Right.
But this is all the cops. This is the cops of Gotham.
Right.
It doesn't tell me how many issues are in it.
So this was like a this was a really excellent series. It won a lot of awards.
Mm-hmm.
We all really liked it.
Yep.
Went back to like the early 2000s, and it was like it really kind of tried to put you as a point of view character, as a Gotham cop working in a city as strange as Gotham.
Yep.
The iconic opening scene is there's a couple of cops that are just following up on like a lead. They're like, oh, we're just going to check this one more apartment, see if this, informant or whatever, if that's where he's gone to ground. It's like something they're not expecting big trouble with before they leave their shift. They kick open, they open the door, and it's like Mr. Freeze and some of his allies, and Freeze turns and like hits him with his freeze gun. And this is like pretty hardcore. You find out like one of them died of like hypothermia, instantly. The other guy loses his arm, which got frozen, and like so that's the kind of tone of the book.
Yeah, it's a much more gritty take on it.
It's where they elaborated on Renee Montoya and what's his name? Who's the big man? Harvey Bullock.
Yeah,
Harvey Bullock. They came up with interesting ideas, like the idea that you can't. It's kind of illegal. You can't have the cops formally turning on the bat signal. So they had an unpaid intern who's not like officially on the books who would do it. And like in later stories, she kind of like starts to form like a little mental, what we would now call a parasocial relationship with Batman.
Yeah.
Because she's the person who activates the bat signal. Anyway, Rucka and Brubaker both really thought about this a lot. They both have great crime chops and they know how to write a good mystery. So this is a series, if you haven't read it or just want to get it in this format, I think we would all pretty highly recommend.
Great, yeah. Rucka has another book this week, Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League.
Yeah, we talked a fair amount about this.
I stumped for this every week. I loved this book when it was out. I'm glad it's getting collected. It's one of my favorite reads from last year.
It's basically a couple of sort of kind of B and C tier villains decide to pull a heist on the Justice League satellite.
It is Ocean's 11 with supervillains.
Or the Watchtower.
Very, very clearly Ocean's 11 inspired.
Yep.
Yes.
But Rucka always like sort of writes women-centric comics.
Yeah.
And lensing it through Cheetah and Cheshire. I didn't think I wanted that, but little did I know I did want that. Oh, and it had that amazing art from
Nicola Scott.
Nicola Scott. I was about to say Nikola Tesla, but that's a different.
Nikola Tesla does not do art.
Maybe he'll come back sometime.
And Nicola Scott does not create power.
To create super electricity.
As far as I know.
And then got killed by Thomas Edison or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a duel, right?
In a duel. I don't know. Yeah,
There's a lightning duel that they had.
I think so.
And Thomas Edison's lightning could kill an elephant, so therefore it killed Nikola Tesla.
Right. Or did it?
Or did it?
Yeah.
We don't know.
It's a tease. It's an open-ended question.
Marvel,
how deep does the rabbit hole go?
It's very roguelike. Marvel Zombies Red Band gets a trade this week.
Okay,
if you want to watch zombies chomp on things.
Yep. With a little bit more gratuitous violence than usual.
Yep.
And then this is we got an omnibus edition of the Star Wars Legacy that John Ostrander wrote with Jandrusema artwork, sort of painted artwork.
Yes.
You guys remember this? It was a descendant of Skywalker,
right?
But he was sort of dark side, Cade Skywalker.
Yeah.
And it was a new empire and all this kind of stuff. It was pre the sequels.
Yeah, the sequel trilogy. Yeah, when that was kind of like all uncharted territory, and Ostrander, I guess, was given pretty open territory to imagine how things might develop. And I think he definitely did like writing these characters, going all the way back to like Grimjack, his own sort of sci-fi mercenary guy, who kind of walked a little bit in both worlds.
So it's set 137 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Cade Skywalker is a bounty hunter who rejects his Jedi heritage, and the galaxy is under the rule of the one Sith.
You blabbed, Cade.
So there's some cool characters, really nice art, and it's a sort of a fun, a little more sci-fi take.
Yeah,
on Star Wars.
Liking this one.
It was good.
He was like,
yeah.
I felt like he was really building out his own Star Wars universe, and people who like the books and stuff like that, and who kind of like that slightly more detailed vision that they create, I think will like what he did with that.
I wonder if they'll somehow sneak Agent of the Empire in here, because he created an Imperial like spy.
Yeah.
And did a miniseries, maybe 2 miniseries?
Right. Who ended... Well, he became, like... You're talking about the guy who became a character. He was, like, the undercover guy?
No. I'm talking... Remember his last thing he did for Dark Horse, right before Dark Horse transitioned over to Marvel?
I actually don't remember this.
It was called something Imperial Agent.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was. He was... I remember that. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it's
this was not the dude with dreadlocks.
Agent of the Empire.
Agent of the Empire, okay.
It was... then there were 2 miniseries, I believe. Which I think it's been out of print. This was 15 years ago,
right?
But the character's name is he's James Bond meets Star Wars. Basically, is his shortcut.
Cool. You know what's funny is like
Johan Cross.
He right before I think like the franchise kind of got really locked down, and they said like would go on to be like, okay, all the old books are taken out of canon, and a lot of fans freaked out, and all this stuff. He right before that era ended. He was getting to do some pretty good world building, which felt kind of more Star Wars-y than some older world building did, but wasn't locked down by like 100 editors who would have to approve every little thing.
Yeah.
So I think he got a playground that a lot of people would be envious of.
Yep. All right. I think that covers everything. All right. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about a couple trailers and a TV show that we're all into. All right, just a couple trailers to talk about here. I think we liked all these trailers, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with Lanterns, which we were not taken with when we saw the first trailer.
There was some skepticism.
Well, there was no green power energy at all in the first one.
Right.
In fact,
somebody flew.
He sort of flew, yeah.
Yeah, he flew.
I still think the ring is over-designed.
Yeah,
I think you can just do a Green Lantern ring. It looks like a real... If you were to have a Green Lantern wedding ring, that's what your ring would look like. It looks too real. Right. I want it to look like a piece of alien jewelry.
Yeah.
And maybe less like a ring you could get at if you go to a specialty jeweler.
I, in the glare of our screen, couldn't see it well enough to have an opinion on this.
Well, trust me that I'm right.
Not 100% sure I'll do that.
I still have some reservations on this.
Same.
But here's the thing. This new trailer shows a lot more uses of powers.
Yep.
Overtly discussing like the ring and stuff like that. So you see Hal Jordan, who's played by that guy
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler.
That's the best decision they made, by the way.
Yeah.
Kyle Chandler is Hal Jordan, and sort of an older...
It's kind of an egotistical but wash up... He seems a little washed out now, too.
This is actually a version of Hal we've never seen in the comics.
No, but he does combine elements. We've seen Hal become an alcoholic. We've seen him F up.
Yeah, sure.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've also seen him as kind of like the veteran of the group.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that he says something like, Jon Stewart asks him something like, how'd you get it? And he's like, they ask you one question. He's like, do you have fear?
Yeah.
And Jon Stewart says something like, he's like, it seems like that much power seems like something you should have to work for.
Yeah.
And you see him, they cut to him working out, and it looks like he's really pushing himself to the edge.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, this is a guy who seems like he works harder than Hal does.
Yeah.
And
Hal has no... usually the ring goes to other people, and it's just, Hal and John are friends.
Yeah.
This take on them as like, he's a reluctant mentor, so reluctant he has no intention of giving the ring up to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's got sort of that 48 hours buddy cop energy a little bit.
Right. And it seems like Jon Stewart is going to I'm going to prove myself so hard that I'll be better than he ever was.
We get a glimpse of Guy.
Yep. He rolls up. I can't tell
Somebody's
what's happening.
in jail.
It looks like he's walking up to him in jail, yeah.
They're investigating some, looks like a ranch compound that maybe is secretly aliens. I don't know.
I saw Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah, Garrett Dillahunt's great.
See somebody like pulls up a Green Lantern shield when somebody's like firing like a machine gun at them, and it's like taking all the bullets.
Yep.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. The vibe of it is a little. It's still a little grounded for me.
Yeah, I was gonna like.
But there actually were like there's a shot or two in like space.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you do see
him in the costume,
some greenness,
which I wish was a little better, but
I couldn't tell in the glare.
I was gonna say the glare. I didn't see the costume.
I watched it at home first, so
briefly see
it's a little bit 90s superhero costume. Yeah. It's better than Ryan Reynolds' weird hollow generated costume.
Is it for Stewart or
it's Hal? We see Hal in space in the costume. It looks more like a space suit than a superhero suit.
I mean, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, me too. I hope it's good. Yeah.
But I'm a little still in the.
It has a little bit of edge. They drop the F-bomb somewhere in there, so you can tell that they want to keep a foot in like a little bit of it seems like serious crime trauma.
And then Laura Linney shows up as
that's who that is. We don't know who she is.
Random character that seems to be,
but could be Carol Ferris.
It could be Carol Ferris.
I don't think so. I think Carol would. Well, maybe she wouldn't be younger because she's.
If Hal is going to be
commensurate with his age,
right. But really, Connie Britton should be Carol Ferris.
That would be funny.
We also got a trailer for My Adventures with Superman Season 3.
Yep.
You never watched Season 2, right? Did you, Nick?
Yeah.
But I liked Season 1 a lot.
That was a Supergirl. Yeah, that was a
really
great
good.
Season.
I need to go back and rewatch it because I only watched the one time.
It feels like it's been a long time since the...
It has. I wasn't sure we were getting any more of it. But... They've already introduced Supergirl. They've already
call it the Reign of the
Superman. Yeah. But we don't see Steel, but I'm almost sure Steel was introduced in the second season.
He was.
But we do have Cyborg Superman, and we do have Superboy, who seems to be a little hyperactive dimwit.
Do we see Eradicator?
Eradicator was in the previous season, I'm almost sure.
Was he? Okay.
I think that Cyborg Superman had like what looked like also backup cyborgs.
Yeah, he's going to be a different take, I think.
Yeah, and all their stuff is a different take. It all does seem to have sort of an anime filter through it.
We also saw Giganta.
Yeah, briefly see Giganta. There's definitely some of the clowning around that the series is known for.
Mm-hmm. Lois punches out Lex.
Yep. Superman talking to Jimmy on his signal watch, saying, "This is a bad time, Jimmy." As you see. Superman, who's somebody he's holding it like arm's length, is kicking him in the head over and over.
Yes.
Not doing anything. And then
very anime style.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's about to get stepped on by Giganta.
Yeah. It looked really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last trailer is one that's not officially out, but somebody bootlegged it on YouTube, and it's actually pretty good quality, and we want to watch it, so we watched it.
Yep.
We do not endorse piracy here at Rogues Gallery.
Right.
But sometimes we engage in it.
Right. Unless it's against a vile corporation who doesn't give a shit about you.
Yeah, I was really hoping they'd drop the trailer, but they haven't yet.
Yeah, we'll come back for a more detailed analysis.
Yeah.
This is going to, I think, just be a quick take.
Yeah, quick thoughts. But X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer.
Yes.
Which we all were really enjoyed Season 1.
Yes.
I think Dave and I were both shocked how much we enjoyed it.
Yep.
And this teaser is a lot of fun stuff. Very crowd pleasery thing.
As they kind of mention as a framing device, it's sort of X-Men in the past, present, and future, as we saw set up at the end of the first season.
Yep.
You've got half the team, like in ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt being rolled over by Apocalypse.
It looks like. Half the team in the far-flung future, which is the
also being ruled over by.
I think the
that?
Egyptian is ruled by Ramatut.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And then the far-flung future is Apocalypse.
I don't think it's ruled by Ramatut. I think Ramatut is the one who brought them there to take down Apocalypse.
I think you're right.
I think Ramatut and Apocalypse are at odds.
At the end of that one, we saw young Apocalypse.
Oh, you're right. That's right.
As kind of not like as a leader, but as kind of an upriser.
So yeah, something's going on there. Yeah. But Apocalypse is the ruler in the future. You're right. Yeah. I forgot young Apocalypse.
Is there a term for the future that they are showing?
It's the Ascani. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's the age of Apocalypse.
No, it's not Age of Apocalypse.
The Ascani era.
The Ascani era.
Because we see Cyclops and Jean and a young Cable, just like in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix miniseries.
At some point, they are wearing the Frank Quitely new X-Men look uniforms.
We also see X Factor from the Peter David era. Yep.
Which who was the artist on that?
It was Larry Stroman to start with.
Right, and I think that was his designs that it looks like they're adapting.
And then Joe Quesada later.
Yep. Yeah. That's right.
We also see some New Mutants, the Quentin Quire.
Yeah, and I saw who's Husk's like red porcupine looking person.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Not M.
Yeah.
We
saw that. No, Implet's the bad guy.
Implet's the bad guy.
Is it just Husk? I don't know. There was someone who's that red porcupine guy was there, and I don't know who everybody else is, but they're in some future where the X-Mansion is like dilapidated and destroyed.
Yeah. And I noticed that Quentin Quire is wearing a T-shirt that is a Dark Phoenix shirt, which I thought was kind of fun.
Yep.
A little bit in that tradition of the, Magneto was right, kind of something that like a punk rocker would be doing.
And it seems like Bishop is trying to get the team back together.
Yep. I am very excited about what they're going to do with this season 2.
Nick, is your boy Havoc going to get some play?
He should.
So.
If
you're doing X Factor, you have to do Havoc.
He's the leader.
Yep.
He's in there. We saw him.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Let's jump over and talk about a show we're all watching. There may be some spoilers in this for Widow's Bay on Apple Plus. I use Apple TV now.
It's kind of hilarious. I messaged you guys in the middle of the night and was like, Dave, you might really enjoy this show.
Yeah, and at that point,
you said
I was 2 episodes in.
You were 2 episodes in, and I was like, oh yeah, I watched 3 episodes of that yesterday.
Yeah, it just happened to have all watched at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not, people know I don't watch a ton of TV, but I had seen a little, like at least the trailer for Widow's Bay, and I think my brother had watched it and said it was pretty good. And I was like, I knew it at its basics that it was like a sort of horror comedy with kind of lighter comedy, but set in and around a coastal town with some spooky stuff in it.
Yep.
And I was like, that's my aesthetic. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna at least want to try it out. I feel like I'd heard a little bit of good buzz too, and so I got Apple TV to give that and a few others a try. But that was at the top of my list. So we are now all caught up.
It's true.
There's
Yes.
4 episodes that have come out.
4 episodes in. 5th is coming out on Wednesday.
Right. When you hear this, it'll be out that night. I think, would we all say that, although I think the show is, I think the first episode is a good episode, but it is a bit of a slow burn.
Yeah.
And you might not take till it might be the second episode before you're kind of starting to plug into it.
Well, I think you're trying to figure out the balance, because it's like, is this really all in his head? Is there actual supernatural occurrences occurring?
Well, so this is an ensemble show, but there is a central character which was the mayor. He's the mayor of a town of a few thousand people. That's it's like a New England island.
It's the next Martha's Vineyard if it wasn't haunted.
Right,
Correct.
right. In the first episode, the driving force, and there's a through line to this in every episode that follows. Their infrastructure is kind of crappy. Their Wi-Fi is like shitty or non-existent, and the town is kind of a little dilapidated. And so, but the mayor is like desperate to get some tourism money going on in there, even though there's a lot of kind of weird superstitions and creepiness about the town. And so he's like, there's a New York Times travel
writer,
who's coming to visit.
Yep. And
he very desperately wants to impress this guy.
Yep.
And meanwhile, the other locals, who are all kind of a bunch of quirky weirdos, they're like, oh, did the mayor tell you about the cannibalism? And he's like, he doesn't need to know about that. Like that I don't even think it really happened. And so that first episode is kind of about the mayor, kind of stressed out mayor, trying to make that connection happen with the reporter. And meanwhile,
by the way, we should say the mayor is played by Matthew Rhys,
Yes.
from The Americans,
and a bunch of other
stuff, and he's fantastic.
He's great in it. And meanwhile, there is a mysterious fog that appears, and one of the kind of fishermen of the town who doesn't show up the next day. And the mayor is very quick to, a little bit like the mayor from Jaws.
Like, that guy always gets lost. It's
right,
fine.
he's probably drunk somewhere. Or
I love
whatever.
that where he takes a phone call and pretends they found him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so good. There's a little bit of so I never watch Parks and Rec, but I feel like there's a little Parks and Rec.
Well,
this.
the director of this, or the creator of this, worked on Parks and Rec.
Oh, really?
That's sort of
Katie
okay.
Dippold, I believe.
So you're getting kind of the mayor and his office sometimes, and he's got a few people. And they're all kind of getting on him hey, come on, you got to put some more effort into finding this guy. And again, a little like the mayor in Jaws, but a little less cutthroat, but not too much less.
I love that they're...
He wants he's like, I cannot start, tell people that there's a killer fog out there.
Right.
And he gets a phone call, and he's like, oh, great. And he's holds the receiver, and he's like, they found him. And then he goes into, he's like, I'm going to take this call in my office. And the sheriff, I guess, on the other line, is he like, did you just lie and say that we found him?
The relationship between him and the town sheriff is pretty great.
Yeah.
I like that there are elements of movies we've seen before, kind of like echoes of like Jaws and Fog and
in a way,
It. And
each episode of this like kind of plays off of a different supernatural theme, and yet they are all building a story.
Yeah.
We also should mention Stephen Root.
Yep.
Stephen Root plays like this crusty old fisherman and kind of town weirdo.
Yeah, but he gets a pass from a lot of people because it's like he was an important guy back in the day.
Yeah, I forget exactly why.
But
he's like Mayor. He's like, we gotta sound the alarm, which is like this old like hurricane warning alarm. He's like, the evil has awakened or whatever.
He is all in on the supernatural. He's like, it's all true, man.
Yeah, and the mayor's skepticism towards him is hilarious. And very much you'll find yourself, I think, very often in the shoes of the mayor.
Well, yeah, as we're watching at the beginning, I find this very interesting because I'm like, the mayor is like, this poor guy. He's the mayor of this really small town, and he wants to be a bigger deal. And at least he
wants the town to do well.
And he's trying to get past all these weirdos who just they're all crazy superstitious. And then the longer you go in, you're like, oh no, they were right. They're all right. The mayor actually does not. You should take this seriously. Because,
but also, the mayor is not completely. Is not such an awful person that doesn't take it somewhat seriously.
No. Once he starts realizing it's real,
he's somewhat
dragged into it.
Has to realize it's real.
Well, also give him like a son, and he grew up in this place, and he like.
There's an interesting legend.
Yeah.
The legend is that people who are born on this island, if they go to the mainland, they die.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, there's like a few people that you can point to and like, oh, he did die within a week. Oh, this person died within a month. And like we find out that the mayor, who's a single dad, whose wife died in childbirth to his son, who's probably like 16 or something like that, and is kind of like running with a sketchy crowd and just smoking pot with them, but kind of being like, he wants to get off the island because the son thinks it's like a nowhere place. He's right. And the mayor, you can tell like the son like is though kind of like he really cares about him. Yeah. And he's like, he won't say it, but he doesn't want to risk him dying by going to the mainland.
Yep.
And but like he like in the second episode he kind of sticks his foot in it when he calls that old crusty Stephen Root character. He says he's like, stop scaring people, you old hick, or something like that. Or you dumb hick.
You dumb hick.
And like
they all yelling that
at the fishermen. Yeah. And so they get pissed at him, and I forget exactly how it comes up, but basically they're like, are they kind of writing him for because they believe in the superstitions he's saying, and he's like, it's not true.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, spend one night in the
hotel, which has. They give him a list of the various things that could happen there.
Yeah.
They want him to video him doing all of them, which is like saying the name of this, seeing the mirror, checking the crawl space,
watching for this weird clown murderer who stayed there decades ago.
Yep.
And by the way, though, even the guy who runs the inn, when he's showing him to his room, he won't step in.
He's like, "I'm not." Yeah, he wants won't get there, and he's like, "You're not staying." He's like, "No, I don't stay here."
Did you recognize him?
Yes,
he was the bad guy from the Ghostbusters movie.
Which, by the way, this writer wrote.
Yes,
she wrote the female Ghostbusters and the Heat.
Yep.
And worked on Parks and Rec.
I guess I'm sort of glad I didn't know that because
and Haunted Mansion. None of these things. This is the best thing she's ever written.
I like elements of those things.
It doesn't vibe anything
it's
like
nothing
what
like
I've
any of those.
seen of those. So don't worry too much about that.
I think she usually writes for director Paul Feig, and I think Paul Feig being involved was probably the problem of all of that. Because Paul Feig is not great.
One of my favorite bits, by the way, in that episode with the haunted inn where the mayor stays there, is one of the things you're supposed to do is there's a supposedly creepy, maybe haunted crawl space in the basement that goes back 20 feet. Like it's like climbing down this tunnel that goes back 20 feet. And he goes down there. He's been checking off the other stuff, a lot of which is easy, just walk. It's like walk in a dark room and go Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Right.
And nothing's happening really. But he goes down there. He looks in the crawl space. It's dark. There's nobody else in the hotel so far as he knows. It's creepy, and he just looks and he's like, "Fuck no."
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. In the second episode, we get our first kind of glance that there's a larger picture because doesn't the mayor mention to the priest about the church bells?
Oh, the priest is played by Toby Huss, who's great.
Yep, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that couldn't have happened."
Right?
And we were like, how could the church has a bell? It's gonna ring.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't realize it until we go see the bell.
Right.
This reminded me a little bit of The Fog as well,
Yep,
because
yep.
there is a dark secret that the priest in The Fog uncovers in John
Yep.
Carpenter's The Fog. And in this, you will see that priest go and like climb up into the tower of the church, and you see him like there's cobwebs first of all over the stairs, like
Yep.
no one has been there, and the bell is literally chained.
Yeah, like
Yep.
not moving
It
at all.
cannot move. So it's very clear there's stuff happening here, and it is both dryly funny at times, but creepy. It's never big scary. It's
No.
not. It's not. This is almost
It's
like
eerie.
a
little
chill,
bit.
scary
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
The third episode was really fun.
Like you might watch
Third-
it even if you don't do horror.
The third episode is
Sea Hag.
The Sea Hag, which is
Really
I like that
good.
each episode has like a different like this place is haunted,
Yes.
which I kind of think is a fun setting.
Right.
And then the
but
fourth
it's not so common that you like everybody sees it. Everybody, many people believe it.
yeah.
And but like certainly if somebody when he tells Stephen Root about this strange woman like in like covered in seaweed that he saw, who is creepy, but
Yes.
she's very creepy.
Yeah.
He's
Immediately knows
who
like
it is.
every mariner knows the story of the sea hag.
Yep.
And he's like crawl into a box
For 72 hours.
Oh right.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you insane?"
Yeah.
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 I
Turns
do
out
love,
you should have.
I do love the mayor, and that episode. What's interesting is that quite often the scary things that happen are a reflection of some sort of real life issue the mayor's dealing with, like bumping up against the superstitions and kind of the old ways of the town in the haunted house episode, trying to be like a middle-aged guy kind of getting in the dating pool in the episode with the sea
wife
hag.
died a long time ago, and he's trying to get back
he
to
hits it off because the some tourists do start showing up.
that storyline was sad and kind of
was.
hilarious.
And then there's even a through line because this woman who he's kind of got a little connection with, a little crush on,
Yep.
There's a fun.
he starts to wonder, is she
Is she the
somehow
sea
an
hag?
incarnation of the sea hag?
Yep.
And because he's like, she said that she's in town for a bachelorette party. They're just, having some fun on the island. And she at some point she like knocks on his door, and he's talking to her through the door, nervous.
Yeah.
And he's like, I never did see the other girls in your bachelorette party,
I know what you are.
but you will in the most recent episode, the one we saw.
Fourth episode is my favorite episode.
fourth
you
episode-
will
The mayor sort of drops out, and it is all about
his
Patricia,
assistant. Yes.
who is she had a run-in with a serial killer called the Boogeyman.
Yep.
When she was younger, and she avoided being killed by like hiding in her bed. But all these women are being super mean to her because
They don't believe her.
they don't believe her.
They
And
think it's a story she tells to get attention.
because they're like, well, everybody else died. How did you survive?
Yep.
And
some of them even like lost friends.
I love that she
Yeah.
runs like a bookmobile.
yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, this
so
has a story that's to some degree about like the concept of like the forbidden tome.
Yeah.
But it appears in such a weird and unusual way.
Yep.
I wasn't even quite sure where the plot was going with it.
Yeah.
And when it actually happens, it's kind of disturbing.
It's very creepy
know
and
what I'm
well
talking
done.
about?
Kind of
Nick at
has
the
like
party?
a midsummer
Yeah,
kind of vibe
yeah.
to it.
Yeah. I like that I can never quite tell if something's going to be kind of funny
Yeah.
or going to be kind of like a little bone chilling.
That one kind of bordered on the weird and absurd, and I died laughing.
Yeah.
Just the reaction.
Well,
and
also,
everything. I love
In
the other
some of the
person.
sequences, the guy who's the nerdy looking dude who was DJing.
Oh, that is Greg Hiller. I think
He's
is
a
his name.
hilarious
He
comedian.
is. Yes, he's. He
was on Stumble.
Jeff Hiller. He was on Stumble.
Does he do deadpan?
He's
He does.
so.
He
yeah,
feels like a
he's
guy
so
who does
good,
deadpan.
yes.
Well, in Stumble, he played a German.
He was the German head of the Candy Button Factory.
Yep.
Who was definitely and maybe a Nazi.
Definitely a Nazi. It was hilarious.
But
But
along the way, well, go ahead.
the woman that works with her at the mayor, the office.
Yeah.
chain smoking lady.
Yeah, she killed me in this one. She was like,
Yep.
what she says when
Yes.
everything is revealed, I died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit reminiscent of the grandpa in Lost
Yes.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
worth noting here, Hamish Linklater. I'm not sure if he's shown up yet, but that's the guy who played. He was the main character in the vampire one that Mike Schur did.
Or Mike Flanagan.
Mike
Oh,
Flanagan.
what we do in
yeah.
Shadows?
Oh yeah.
No.
Hamish
Oh.
hasn't shown up yet.
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. So he has a role in this.
Wait, who did he play?
He was the priest.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He's
And
great in everything.
That was like
He
one of the
was
best
also-
horror performances I've seen in the decade.
He's also in Legion, which he was great in, too. So he's good. He's in this later. I won't say who he is because I now know. Also, Ty West is directing an episode.
Interesting.
So, yeah, there's some...
He's not my favorite person, but I
No.
know that he is good at... He can do atmosphere. The Innkeepers, which was like my favorite movie of his movies I've seen, I could see how that directing style could
so this
fit.
is
The
in.
second episode definitely had that.
It felt a
vibe.
little
The,
like
the
it.
co-creator and director of like 4 of the episodes is Hiro Murai, who worked with Childish Gambino. He did the This Is America trailer or
video?
The video for that.
Oh, wow.
He's worked as an executive producer on The Bear, on Barry, on Station 11.
That's quite the pedigree.
and Atlanta. So yeah, he's worked on a lot of
That's
good
a
stuff.
really good pedigree.
I think this is a show that, yes, we spoiled some things, but we really haven't spoiled the
Right.
vibe.
If you watched it, that small coastal town eeriness.
Little Stephen King, a little
Yep.
Wes Craven, or not Wes Craven. Why am I?
Not unlike Wes Craven though.
Yeah, I mean, there's got elements of it.
Yeah, there's almost like a little bit of the... You know in Silent Hill, when it's not Hell World, it's weird and it's just misty
Yeah.
and spooky? It's like that part of Silent Hill. And then sometimes it's funny.
But I feel like this is going to get underseen.
Right.
I mean,
If you're a horror person, or you maybe even if you don't do horror, but like some of what we said sounds fun, I think you can try it out because it's not too scary.
Yeah, I will say I don't know. I think this seemed to have caught the zeitgeist.
I hope
we all
so.
were on it. I've seen some other people posting about it.
Yeah.
It seems to have gotten some attention.
like, I was sad when I got to episode 4 because I thought they'd put the entire
I
Yeah.
saw
season
the
up.
preview of episode 5, and I was like, "Oh, good," and then I'm like, "Oh shit!"
I didn't watch the preview. I was like, no.
Oh
I'm
no!
just-
I mean, I just saw the preview panel.
Oh, okay.
So I just got tricked. I didn't know under it says this comes out Wednesday.
Yes.
Real quick, I will say though that when I first watched it after one episode, Randy, you and I had a similar response,
Yep.
which is that I think we were both like, "Well, it's not like super
it's
funny,
fine, yeah.
and the scares aren't super scary."
Yeah.
So I'm like, and that's kind of charming, but I can't. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be like a big keeper, even though I liked the aesthetics of it for sure. But it took me till the second episode to kind of start getting on board, and then each subsequent episode, I came to really like it.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, for sure, check out what is it?
Widow's Bay on Apple. Dave, while you wait for that 5th episode to drop, you can watch all of Ted Lasso.
That's
I
unlikely.
finally did watch the trailer for the new season.
Oh, yeah.
It looks good.
It looks good.
I'm curious.
Yep. All right, that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back next week with more. Until that time,
Yo, Joe.
Roguecast is a weekly podcast broadcast from Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas. You can find us online on Facebook and at www.roguesgallerytx.com and email us comments or questions at roguesgallerytx@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.